Hi, welcome to another episode of Silver Fox Scotland. Beware of the blob. The blob is growing. In the last 9 years since the Brexit referendum, Scotland's civil service has grown 75%. There is an extra 130,000 people being paid out of the taxpayer. That's an awful lot, and it's unsustainable. You need a smaller government, fewer people paid out of the public purse. After all, the more people who work for the public purse, the more the public who put into the purse have to pay tax. This is why tax in Scotland is so high. I think eventually they want everyone to be working for the state. It'll be then some kind of Marxist superstate, who knows? But it's not good, and it's awful wasty. Terms in money, certainly. Just as south of the border, Keir Starmer is now looking to shrink the civil service. He was making overtures about getting rid of NHS England. 50% of them will be going very, very quickly, assuming the unions stand for it, which of course they won't. There'll be trouble, but hey-ho. He's also talking about introducing a load of AI in order to basically ping off the junior levels. And this will happen. As someone, like I said, said before, I'm 35 years an accountant, but when I started, I was just a wee junior little clerk, scratching with me quill on the big manual ledger. And yes, for those old enough to know, I did start on manual ledgers. No computerised stuff for me. It was pure double entry. Flick back a page, put it forward a page, find the profit and loss account, move it from the bank account, all that sort of thing. And that's how you started. But now, modern sort of computerised banking and accounting software doesn't have a need for a computer clerk, an input clerk or an accounts clerk, call them what you will. Purchase ledger clerks, sales ledger clerks, remember them? Nominal ledger clerk. And you move up and you be the purchase ledger controller. Then you move up again and you be purchase ledger manager. Then you move up again, you become credit controller, something like that. Then, you become, and there was a pathway. You went bum, 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 all the way up. I also did 5 years in practice, of course, because you have to. Don't get chartered without it. So, you do the various stages, but you work your way up. Now, the thing is, this is intensive in terms of employing people. And it gives a good basis. By the time you've actually reached it to the dizzying heights of chartered accountant, you understand the whole system and how everything works. Nowadays, that isn't there, because the modern software now, it's just done away with all that. Now you just sort of take a picture of the invoice on your phone. It's already tied back to the purchase order. It's checked your bank to see if it's been paid, or if it's the other way around, it'll tell the bank to pay. And all those little clerical jobs have gone. And it's going to be the same within the civil service. All these jobs will go. It's marvellous for the taxpayer. Pretty devastating, of course, for the civil servants themselves. Because you've got to remember that while we moan about the blob and that, they're still people. They still have families. So it's difficult. From a human point of view, you think, well, employ them. But from a taxpayer point of view, you go, well, no, go and get another job. Trouble is, half of these people could never get another job because the jobs they do simply don't exist outside of government circles. But that doesn't mean that the government should be a job creator for the indolent and those not willing to learn new skills. It's a very difficult crossover, isn't it? You look at them as people or you look at them as expenses. Depends on, I think, your viewpoint of humanity. I'm quite human. I would say if you've got to get rid of them, fine, get rid of them, but make sure you push them into other jobs that you have created for them. But unfortunately in Scotland, this is not possible because Scottish policy is to destroy jobs, high taxation, high amounts of control, centralising of power. They don't want anyone outside of the SNP to wield any power whatsoever, which is why, of course, everything has to be regulated, licensed, controlled. And that way, the blob controls everything. The blob grows until, of course, the point comes when nobody's paying the blob's wages. And then the blob goes hungry. Scotland's at that point. If it wasn't, quite literally, if it wasn't for England, Scotland couldn't afford to run now. When you've got 20% of the population employed by the state, 20% of the population are in education, and 20% of the population are retired, it means that only 40% of the population are able to make up to pay for the rest. But you've got to remember, of that 40%, about half of them, or maybe a third perhaps, are unemployed or unemployable, disabled, etc. So you've actually got a very tiny amount of people doing the work to get taxed to pay for everyone else. Please tell me, all you independence-minded buffoons, how the hell can Scotland maintain that in an independent Scotland where it wasn't making money from England? The old Barnett formula wasn't there to prop you up. And you can't say oil because you're busy closing that all down. The SNP, pure genius, isn't it? And so the only option is, of course, that you reduce the blob. You shave it off. You trim it down. You let it evaporate, whatever it is. You shrink it. That means no more hiring. A hiring freeze for 5 years. You let nature take its course. People go off, people die, people retire, etc. Shrink the blob. Do that, of course, and things become easier. You might even be able to lower your taxes. Can you imagine not paying as much tax? Having more money in your pocket? Being able to spend it on what you think? And more importantly, of course, reducing the power of the state to control your life and tell you what you may or may not do. That, of course, is the big one. That's the one they really loathe, because they really like being able to tell you what you can do. This is another reason why they don't like you having too much money. People with money can sod off and do things they want. Can't have that. You will live in your 15-minute ghetto. You will eat the bugs. You will own nothing. You will be happy. The beatings will continue until morale improves. Alas for the SNP, that isn't going to last much longer. They're still growing. It is still growing. They keep inventing new quangos here, new operation bases there. Let's go and do this somewhere else. And so the blob grows. And you, the Scottish taxpayer, has to pay ever more. And so indeed does the rest of Britain. Because, we're all in this together. What a mess. These people couldn't run a whelk stall. Anyway, there we go. Let me know what you think. Is the blob too big? Should we cut it down? I think I know the answer. What are your solutions? Till next time, stay safe, stay well, and I, as always, will speak to you later. Bye.